So we're starting with politics. The ruling NDC has rescheduled its primaries from November 7 to November 21. Now, the party's General Secretary, Johnson Asiedu Nketia, explained this would enable the party to fully implement programs on the party's election timetable.
The NDC primaries have not been entirely smooth, as some parliamentary aspirants who were disqualified are still contesting their disqualification. After an emergency National Executive Committee meeting, the party leadership says the party's elections timetable needs to be adjusted to resolve all outstanding issues.
We came to a conclusion that the elections would be postponed from 7th November to 21st of November. We have come to this conclusion because our timetable appeared a little more ambitious than it has, we anticipated. So, in implementing the timetable, we came to some difficulties which required that the timetable should be adjusted.
Some members of the party have also complained about the party's biometric voters register, alleging that the register in some constituencies contain names of non-NDC members. The party's General Secretary, Johnson Asiedu Nketia, dismissed allegations that the party voters register had been bloated and urged members to participate in the ongoing exhibition processes to clean it.
Don't fold your arms only to come and complain after the register has been exhibited. If you have problems with the register, this is the time to pinpoint the problems.
The General Secretary dismissed speculations that the postponement was due to the fact that the earlier date coincided with dates of some regional festivals. About 2.2 million NDC registered voters were expected to elect the party's parliamentary and presidential candidates on November 7.
And of course, we'll take a look at the NDC primaries and the postponement. My guest in the studio is a communications officer of the party, Mr. Solomon Nkansa. Welcome. But let me quickly go on to the phone lines and speak to the Executive Director of the Ghana Institute of Governance and Security, David Agbe. David, good evening, and thanks so much for staying there for us.
Yes, good evening, Bright.
Now, let's quickly look at this. The concerns been raised by some quarters that the party's primaries seem to be hitting some obstacles because of concerns about the biometric register. We're told of the incident in Lejokuku. We're told of one in the Bonafo region, even though the party contends that these misunderstandings have been settled. In the build-up to 2016, how key is political party structures in resolving differences that may come in the build-up to the processes?
Yes, right. I think that what the political parties need to do is to try as much as possible to educate their followers. We have modern political party management, and you look as if our political parties are not training their followers, they are even not training their leaders. And so you realize that all this time you have some of these difficulties. It is good that the NDC has actually introduced some kind of innovative, policies, making sure that they give power back to the grassroots people. But they've not been able to involve them, they've not been able to engage them such that they'll be able to coach them what they need to do. But it looks as if they've left everything to the grassroots people, where they are also not being able to take a good decision for their own followers. And so some of these things are bound to actually come. But the good news is that as we speak, they are telling us that they have almost about 2.2 million people, which is very good for democratic way of mobilizing a vote for a presidential candidate. I mean, in our continent here, most of them do not manage their followers very well. But when you go to UK, for instance, the Labour Party, they have a record for each party member, equally like South Africa. I mean, the ANC party is a well-organized party. So I think that now NDC and other political parties are learning new ways of managing, political parties. So if you are going into election that you have a stock of 2.2 million, it's a very good record that you can even lobby a new party people. You can recruit new party people that will be able to support your campaign. But it looks as if the party is also not trying to engage their various constituencies where they will be able to teach them what they need to do as far as this innovation is actually concerned. And that is why some of these things are coming up, Amantin, Lejokuku, Greater Accra region. By now, the leaders should have been engaging various constituencies to explain issues to them. But it looks as if they are not doing that. And that is why some of these things are showing, its ugly head.
David, if you look at, for instance, the largest opposition party, NPP, the infighting continues. There seems to be lack of structures to manage internal conflict. We've seen that of the NDC beginning from the primaries, and you just spoke about what happened at Lejokuku and then in the Bonafo region. Now, I earlier asked how key is conflict management in this, but do you see political parties, after 20 years of democracy, do you see them as able to manage internal conflict so that it doesn't degenerate into perhaps misunderstanding that may rock the party in its bid to either maintain or win power?
Right, to be honest with you, monitoring the various political parties in this country, in fact, I must say that they lack those skills of trying to actually use their internal system of resolving conflict. It is not in their political, lexicon at all. It is now that, some of us in civil society organizations, the media houses, are trying to actually tell the political parties the way they need to organize their own internal mechanisms such that they will be able to resolve their internal conflict. And using the MPP as an example, what we do know in public administration is the fact that when you are faced with a certain challenge, if you are confronted with a certain situation, the basic fundamental principle that needs to be used is your party constitution. If you have a party constitution, the party constitution gives you a guideline, the methodology, the processes that you need to follow, such that certain resolution could be done. But here is the case that the party, they are not respecting their own party architecture and design at all. And that is why some of these things are coming up. But I think that the party leaders need to engage themselves very well. I once upon a time heard Honorable John Sefidun Katia saying that since the assumptions of the new party people, they've not been able to even train them. And that one alone sends a wrong signal that if you've elected new members, one of the fundamental things that you need to do is to train them.
Okay.
In terms of party organization, in terms of teaching them how to manage people and organization. And so those are the things that the political parties need to do at this moment in time.
David, I'm grateful for your time. David is the Executive Director of the Ghana Institute of Governance and Security. My guest in the studio, Communications Officer of the party, Solomon Nkasa. Solomon, welcome once again. So the party is saying that, well, what is happening isn't anything that we should be worried about. I mean, the pieces of violence here and there, Lejokuku, Watobona Hafo, even though the party says it's been resolved, we shouldn't be worried about it?
Not at all. In the sense that if you observe the trend of events with regards to Atebu Amantin and Lejokuku, there were emotions but not violence. And they were deceived into believing that by banning the booklet, they will solve the problem. That's why the General Secretary reiterated this afternoon that if there is a problem, you need to follow the due process in arriving at a solution. We've put in place a mechanism that will assuage or convince every party member that you have to follow what the party has said for us. What we've done is that since we are using a biometric register, we want to apply a mechanism that will bring our members up to speed with the national electoral process, so that in future, when we are engaged in any national activity, NDC members will not find it difficult adjusting. So we embark upon this biometric registration exercise and also introduce inter-party universal adult suffrage. But because it's about elections and it's about human beings, if you don't build good safeguards, what will happen is that some members will apply the system to their advantage. Hence, the safeguards. One is that we have a system where if your name is not on the register, we have an inclusion record form that you apply.
And then you'll be included on the list.
On the list. If you found someone who's supposed not to be on it, as per Ghana's system, you have the record deletion or exclusion form. But because it's about election, candidates and their supporters could go and organize persons who are either MPP or whatever party without good standing.
Just to cheat the system.
Just to cheat the system. You are not to bend the roster. What you need to do is to apply the rules. Because when you petition the local branch executives, 3 of them will agree with you that yes, we believe this number of persons who are on the register are not NDC members. If the branch could not settle the case, the constituency 7-member executive body will sit on it. If they could not, then the review comes to the region and the national, then we'll solve it. So it does not reside in any other group to resort into banning the register. If you recall, when the Atebubu Amantin issue occurred, there is a town between Amantin and Atebu called Sampa. And it's a small village with about a population of about 300. But there's a Sampa that has about 10 to 20,000 population community. That's the famous border town Sampa.
Oh, okay.
So it could happen that Sampa register of the German South might have appeared
in
exchange in Sampa, the small village in Atebubu Amantin. So if members had been a bit vigilant and observed trend well, they could have even realized that maybe that register is not for that Sampa community. But whatever happens, what took place must be condemned. We've dispatched a team. Already there was a team in Brongaf region. We set up exhibition monitoring teams comprising National Executive Committee members who will go and join regional teams and spread in the whole country to observe that exhibition was ongoing. When this issue occurred, we withdrew them and sent an entirely new team to go and assess the situation per what our friend David said. In political party management, you have to be quick and swift in nibbling internal disagreement and issues in the bud so that it does not degenerate into violence. We in the NDC believe that if you want the people to take serious part in the leadership process, first and foremost, you must offer them training. So within this biometric system that we've introduced, we've embarked upon a lot of training. Even the exhibition itself was occasioned by first going to train the branch secretaries and chairman and organizers to know how to go about the exhibition. We've been doing our best, but we know we are a human organization.
And so you're bound to see some of these misunderstandings. Is the postponement of the primaries linked to the misunderstanding with the register?
No. We were overwhelmed by time and some unforeseen development. For instance, when we sat and planned the process, before we met with NEC, in the NDC, NEC is the second most powerful body in the absence of Congress. So whenever functional executive committee members design any program, NEC ought to approve of it. So when we went to seek their approval, we did not factor into certain developments such as the timelines for the completion of registration exercise nationwide. Greater Accra and Ashanti region were offered some additional 1 week. So it ate into our roadmap. Then the petitions and then the reviews that we had in the
course of
process.
The registration
so
process.
It extended the time. So for us to offer extremely free and fair elections within, then it behoves on us to give the register to contestants. Here we are, today is 2nd. And if we were to go by the set time,
original date,
we put our contestants in a fix. And it will not organ on well for a practice where you believe that you want to be free and fair. So we need to extend the time to take care of these concerns.
To address misunderstandings.
And not misunderstanding, a due process. Because you need to develop the certified register, hand it over to contestants for them to assess and be able to meet delegates. So if you develop the register and then you don't hand it over to the contestants. Remember, even in the Supreme Court issue, the eminent judges suggested that the EC should print the register and hand it over in time to the political parties to save any other stakeholder from complaining about a bad fate.
Okay, Solomon, so we'll have to end the interview. I'm grateful for your time tonight.
You're welcome.